Welcome. I am Adina Wancha and I guide high achieving men and women create extraordinary lives and loving ecstatic marriages. The intention of this podcast is to empower both men and women when it comes to life, dating, relationships, and intimacy. I believe that by both men and women being healthy, powerful, and loving, we can be in thriving marriages and create a better world together. If this is something you resonate with, then please keep listening. There is a very important aspect which most people overlook in dating and when deciding to commit to someone long term. And this aspect is if you and the other person are psychologically and emotionally healthy. As human beings, we all have thoughts and emotions. However, not all of us are self aware, self responsible, open to growth and change, have an overall secure attachment, are able to deal with and resolve conflict, are able to deal with our emotions in a healthy way by knowing what emotion we feel, what caused it, how to process it, and how to communicate about it to the other person. Unprocessed emotions are the root cause of many conflicts and divorces. That is why both you and the person you want to commit to need to know how to express and manage your emotions, how to cope with stress, how to be self-responsible for your words and actions, how to communicate to the other person in an effective manner so you can deal with any challenge that will arise throughout your marriage, and how to continue to feel good about one another so you can be together for the rest of your lives. We all know that life is challenging and that everybody goes through rough times. I've been there, you've been there. No one is accepted from hardship and challenges in life. So you will have challenging times both as individuals and as a couple. What matters is each of your ability to deal with the thoughts and the emotions that will arise in these periods. Marriage does not create problems, it reveals your problems. If you think your marriage will be a fairy tale, your expectations are not realistic. The truth is that marriage will reveal all your past wounds and traumas, all your flaws, all your unhealthy mindsets and habits, all the ways you are self-destructive, all the ways you are not loving yourself and your partner. Think of marriage like the container to become the best version of yourself every day. If you and the person you're dating do not take personal responsibility and if you do not have a growth mindset, then marriage is not for you. The following signs will help you discern if you are psychologically and emotionally ready for such a big commitment like marriage, and if the person you are interested in committing is also healthy enough. Now, none of us on this world is perfect, and you and your future partner don't need to be perfect either, meaning you do not need to score 10 out of 10 to all of these. However, the higher you and the future person can score to each of these signs, the more chances you have for a future marriage to be healthy and successful on long term. Let's start with the first criteria, which is how do you and this person deal with anger and other unpleasant emotions? In your marriage and even in dating, you will argue. When people have a conflict, anger will be felt by both of them. As anger is a very powerful emotion, and it's an emotion that can be expressed in extremes by some people, meaning by either aggressivity or by suppression. So that is why it's important to observe from the dating process how you and this person deal with anger. I see anger like a fire. A fire can warm up a room and can be used to cook a delicious meal, but it can also burn down a house or a forest. What you want to work on in yourself and observe in the other person is if both of you can control your anger and deal with it in a generally healthy manner by discussing about what made you upset and working on finding a resolution together. These are some questions that can help you. Do I express my anger or do I suppress it? If I express it, do I do it in a way that's healthy by talking about what bothered me, or do I do it in a verbally or physically aggressive manner? Have I seen while dating this person an angry reaction that made me feel afraid of them? Do I feel safe around this person when they are angry, or am I afraid that they will curse or hit me? How does this person deal with their anger? And is that something I can tolerate? For example, someone can curse when they're angry. Not at you, but at other things. Is that okay for you? Other people might need to take a break and leave for some time. Is that okay for you? Other people can raise their voice. Is that okay for you? The idea is to be aware of how this person deals with their anger and if that is something you can tolerate for the rest of your life. For example, I am okay with someone raising their voice or cursing as long as they don't curse me or leaving the room for some time. However, I am not okay with cursing or offending me or hitting me or throwing objects around me. If someone becomes verbally and physically aggressive towards you when they're angry, they are not ready for such an important commitment like marriage. And although this person may have some great qualities, if they cannot control their anger, your marriage will most likely become a living hell. Also, you need to pay attention if this person suppresses their anger and they do not communicate when they feel upset about something. Why? Because someone who suppresses their anger will eventually become very resentful towards you, and they might initiate a divorce out of nowhere. Resentment is one of the hidden killers of marriages. So do not think that if someone is never upset, it's a good thing, because it's not. Both of you need to be able to admit when something makes you angry or upset and communicate it to each other. Talking about something is better than hiding it under the rug. A healthy way to communicate when one of you is angry is, I feel angry because, for example, I feel angry because you didn't call me when you said you would. I do not like unreliable people. Or, I feel angry because I had a fight with my manager in the morning. Both of you need to be able to speak about the anger that arises when interacted with other people, and also about the anger that arises when one of you does or doesn't do something. Also, throughout the dating process, notice how this person also deals with fear, sadness, shame, disgust. Can they talk to you when they are going through something very uncomfortable? Can you talk to them? If you two cannot talk about things, how are you going to resolve them once you make a commitment to each other? Sign number 2 in seeing if you and the other person are psycho-emotionally healthy for marriage is, do you and this person have serious addictions? Now, every person has at least one addiction. If you are listening to this, you most likely are addicted to something. However, there is a big difference between drinking 2 coffees every day, or maybe smoking 5 cigarettes every day, or watching 2 hours of Netflix every day, or scrolling 1 hour on Instagram, and being addicted to overeating and having health problems, drinking way too much, doing drugs, watching lots of porn, having casual sex, overspending, gambling, or playing videos most of the day. How to know if someone has a serious addiction? These are the signs. 1. They cannot stop that behavior. 2. Over time, they may need more of the substance or the activity to feel the same euphoric effects as they did before. 3. Their addiction has taken over their lives as they spend more time craving, obtaining, and thinking of the subject of the addiction. 4. They've lost the control over their substance use or activity and often feel helpless. They may often feel guilty, depressed, and overwhelmed by their addiction and how much it's impacted their lives. 5. The addiction impacts all aspects of their lives, including their physical, mental health, personal relationships, and career. They may have issues fulfilling responsibilities at work or at home due to the substance use or the activity. Again, despite knowing the detrimental effects of their addictions are having on them, they cannot stop. And now, 6, people with serious addictions may experience emotional and physical withdrawal symptoms when they are stopping. Physical symptoms include shaking, sweating, and vomiting. They may also become very anxious or irritable. Now, if someone has an addiction, even though it might not be a very big problem when you date them, the chances are that it will become a very big problem in your future marriage. It's better to stay away from people who cannot control themselves and have the need to consume unhealthy substances or have certain unhealthy behaviors. You will not be happy with an addict, and you are signing up for misery if you commit to one of them. I believe that each one of us should take responsibility for any addiction we have, even though maybe it's not a very destructive addiction. However, even the poison taken daily in small doses can kill you at some point. So if you have an addiction, I strongly advise you to work with someone specialized in mental health or to simply find something better to do. Many people who have silly addictions have them because of boredom and not knowing what to do with their time. But there are so many other things you can do instead, like reading, taking a walk, signing up for a course, meeting new people and making new friends, volunteering for an NGO, starting a new business, learning a new skill, doing something artistic or creative, dancing, cleaning your house, cooking, and etc. So instead of quitting a certain substance or activity, just find something healthier and better things to do. As someone who has a tendency to get addicted, my life has changed dramatically when I decided to become the best version of myself. The best version of oneself doesn't have unhealthy habits or addictions. So getting addicted to becoming your best self will keep you away from self-destructive habits. Also, take into consideration that any addiction shows two things. 1, you are trying to fill up an emptiness in yourself. And 2, you are trying to avoid an uncomfortable feeling or emotion from your body. But you will never be able to run away from something you feel in your body. The best way to get out of a self-destructive habit is to deal with that unprocessed emotion, and this can be done with the help of a professional. I find that all my clients have unprocessed emotions from past hurtful events related to their relationships, and that is why I always do at least one session in which we focused on the past. While coaching focusing on the future, All of us have at least something in our past that keeps us from moving forward. And this brings us to sign number 3, which is both of you have healed most of your past relational wounds, and you are no longer bitter or resentful towards your past. If someone has not healed from their past experiences, they will recreate them with you. I'm going to say this again. If someone hasn't healed from their past experiences, they will recreate them with you. We have all had traumas in our past, and most relational trauma happened in our childhood or in our adulthood, and they were related to our parents and our previous romantic partners. While none of us will start a new relationship as a perfectly clean slate, it's important to not have bitterness towards the past, as this bitterness is like a poison in one's mind and soul. And when you are married to someone, if they eat poison, so will you. How will you know if someone hasn't healed from their past traumas? You can see this through the way they speak about their parents and about their exes, and through their behaviors towards you and towards other people. When someone has healed from a previous traumatic experience, they will speak about it either with neutrality or with gratitude about it, because maybe that experience helped them become a better person. Also, will be able to understand how they have contributed to that experience and tell you what they've changed about themselves so they do not repeat it. However, when someone hasn't healed, they will blame other people and they will not take any responsibility. And here I'm referring mainly to the wounds created by past romantic relationships. Also, when someone has healed, they will be ready to love again. This doesn't mean that they will open their heart fast for you, but you will see through the way they speak and behave with you that they are willing and capable of being caring and loving towards you. Whereas someone who hasn't healed will either reject you at some point in the dating process by ghosting or interacting less with you, or the emotional connection will become colder instead of getting warmer. Of course, that this can also happen when someone realizes that they are not a good fit for you. But a healthy person will most likely communicate this, especially if you've been dating them for a few months. Also, other destructive behaviors like addictions, emotional detachment, and coldness, and aggressivity can show that this person still has some healing work to do. Unhealed past wounds will show up in your future relationship. That is why I strongly advise you to work with a professional who can help you in the healing process if you still have anger or bitterness towards someone from your past. A person who still lives in their past cannot create a better future. So if you or the other person haven't dealt with your past and you still carry important negative behaviors, mindsets, beliefs, and emotional triggers, you need to do more work on yourselves. Now, no one will heal fully by doing therapy and coaching, meaning there is a level of healing that will happen once you get in a committed relationship and once both of you create a safe and loving relationship. And there is another level of healing that only God can offer. However, both of you need to be able to have a healthy interaction for the majority of the time. While past hurts and triggers will come up as you date and as you to commit to each other, you want for both of you to have the capacity to deal with them in a mature manner in the majority of the time. Sign number 4 in seeing if you and the other person are mature enough for marriage is neither of you is selfish. A relationship means giving and receiving. If the person you are dating wants mostly to take from you and gives back very little, then they are too selfish for getting married. It's very important to choose someone who can reciprocate your attention, your care, your love. Marriage is about being in service of the other person, and in a healthy marriage, both partners pour into one another. During dating, pay attention to how this person behaves with you. Are they attentive to your needs? Are they generous with you? Are they understanding? Are they respectful? Are they interested in making you happier? Stop dating people who have to always be right, people who cannot take any feedback and lack self-responsibility, people who are highly reactive in their emotions all the time, people who do not apologize when they make a mistake and who do not take any accountability for their behaviors. Stop dating people who cross your boundaries and make every conversation only about themselves. These people are too self-centered and are not capable to have a healthy relationship because they simply cannot see you and they cannot care for you. Also, you need to self-evaluate and see if you tend to be too selfish. And there is a level of healthy selfishness required in every person so they take care of their own needs and not abandon themselves for their partner. It's good to have that. However, if you cannot compromise, if you cannot make any sacrifices and you always need to have it your way, if you cannot understand the other person's needs and care for them, if you mostly prioritize yourself and rarely the relationship, then you need to work on becoming more caring and loving. Sign number 5 in seeing if you and the other person are mature enough for marriage is neither of you is greedy. Greed is an intense and selfish desire for something, especially money and power. A greedy person has an excessive and extreme desire for something in the detriment of other people. Greed shows that this person is disconnected from their soul, and someone who is disconnected from their soul cannot love you. While it's normal to desire and work towards a better life, if someone is so thirsty for money and power that they hurt other people, animals, or the environment in their pursuit, they are not good people and you should avoid them. Research has connected greed with a lower emotional stability and self-esteem and with less trust in others. This means that if a person is greedy, it will be very hard for them to love you and to trust you. And without trust, there can be no love. So if you notice that in the dating process, this person is so hungry for money and power that they are willing to walk over dead bodies, stop interacting with them. This is not a good person. And this brings us to sign number 6, which is both of you are honest, authentic, and you live with integrity. My belief is that you need to be able to talk about anything with the person you are going to marry. And although you will not have the same perspectives about everything, what matters is for both of you to listen to one another and to be respectful towards your different perspectives. Also, as you get to know each other and move towards commitment, both of you need to be able to tell one another your biggest fears and secrets without being rejected. If this person cannot accept your biggest secrets and you cannot accept theirs, you will not be able to create and maintain a healthy marriage. Being honest with one another is something that both of you need to do from the beginning of the interaction. Of course, that you will not tell about your biggest fears and traumas from the start, but both of you need to be honest and show up authentically to see if you truly like each other. A marriage cannot be successful if the man and the woman keep secrets from one another, because secrets destroy trust, and you cannot truly love someone if you cannot trust them. Love is based on trust, and trust is based on truth. Also, don't try to be someone you are not when dating this person, because they will expect you to be the same once you are in a relationship. So, show up as yourself with your qualities, your quirks, and your flaws. Loving someone is about accepting them as they are. Of course, this doesn't mean that you will accept any behavior, but it means that you see the other person with the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you can accept them as they are now. Committing to someone whose personality and character you want to change is a recipe for disaster. Yes, you can inspire them to change small things, but you cannot change someone's personality and character. If someone told you to change something important about yourself, would you do it? Changing habits and mindsets takes a lot of work, and it's something that needs to come from the inside. Change is one of the most challenging processes, and only someone who is inner motivated can sustain it. So if you meet someone you're attracted to, but who has important personality and character traits that you want to change, they will not be the partner for you. Now, this is not to say that the other person needs to be perfect, because you are not perfect either. But you need to be able to accept them as they are now, not how they would be if they made the changes you think they need to make. Also, another thing to pay attention to is if this person lives their life with integrity. So observe if they have strong moral values, if they have healthy ethics and principles based on which they live their life, and see if they are honest and take responsibility for their own actions. So make honesty, authenticity, and integrity some of your core values when dating. Be sincere, be true to yourself, behave in a way that is congruent with your values and morals, and it will be easier to make the difference between people who are truly interested in you and the ones who just want to play games. And you will also be able to see if the people you meet are a good match for you. You want to be loved for who you are, not for someone you are not. Sign number 7 in seeing if you and the other person are mature enough for marriage is both of you are kind and generous. Is this person friendly? Are they considerate towards yourself and the other people? Do they give money to charities or to people in need? Are they compassionate towards the suffering of other people or beings? Kindness and generosity are two of the most important qualities you want in your future wife or husband. Someone can be very beautiful, or they can be very smart, or they can make lots of money, or have a high status. However, if they do not have kindness and generosity, they will not make a good spouse. Being a good wife or husband is about loving the other person like you love yourself. It's about taking care of the other person like you take care of yourself. It's about giving to the other person like you give to yourself. Being a good spouse is about serving your partner, both when life is easy and when it's hard. Of course, this doesn't mean that you neglect yourself. It just means that you will take care both of yourself and your partner. Do not overlook these two qualities and only keep dating people who display kindness and generosity towards you, towards other people and other beings. Someone with a good heart and character will want the best for you. So, if you want to be in a healthy and lifelong marriage, make these two qualities a non negotiable. And last but not least, sign number 8 in seeing if you and the other person are mature enough for marriage is both of you make a genuine effort to know each other, to build a relationship, and you want to commit to each other. Both of you can have great qualities and be amazing human beings. However, if both of you do not make a genuine effort to truly get to know each other, to build a relationship, and if you do not want to commit to each other, then you are not a good match. In the dating process, you will meet good people. However, not all of them will be good for you. Only one of them will be the best fit for you and will want to commit to you, and you will want to commit to them. This is not to say that only because you want to commit to someone and they want to commit to you, you will have a healthy marriage. All the other signs I spoke about need to also be present in your interaction. Feeling attracted to someone, even feeling that you love them and that you want to commit to them, are not enough for a healthy and stable marriage. So, throughout the dating process, pay attention if this person makes an effort to create a relationship with you by prioritizing spending time with you, by listening to you, by caring for your needs, by supporting your dreams and goals, by being able to have tough conversations, by working on resolving conflicts, and by dating you exclusively. And of course, if you can do the same for them. And if you are committed to creating an amazing marriage filled with peace, love, joy, and prosperity, I am inviting you in my one-to-one coaching container where we will work together to transform you into the best version of yourself. You can find the links for the programs in the description box. Thank you for listening to this episode. I appreciate your time and energy, and I hope to meet you again in the next one. Until then, keep evolving, loving, and creating. Bye.